Hi guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Zanele.
My name is
We are the
Apatas.
Apatas. Yes, welcome back to our channel. We have been gone for ever, for months. Even though we've been in lockdown now for like a long time, we were thinking that it will be easy for us to actually record as often, but that wasn't the case. Because a lot has been going on in the world, and yeah, so it's been an interesting year. So it wasn't easy to come and, you know, wanna chat on the camera.
Mm. And I think I would say also it's a good thing to give people the breather, so that they can. I mean, we were and are all dealing with the dynamics and the uniqueness of the year 2020. So we thought, we should give you space to deal with it in your own way. Just the way we are dealing with it in our own ways by the help of God.
Yeah. So anyway, so today we thought let's just record like a video, just talking about obviously because the channel is about us as a couple, even though we have our own individual channels on YouTube. I am at Fumi Apata. I have my own YouTube channel, and my husband has his own YouTube channel. What's it?
Sam Potter.
Yeah, Sam Apata. So this channel is specifically just about us as a couple and life for us as a couple and whatever topics that we want to cover. So I thought like we should do a conversation about because I know we haven't spoken about, which is like, you know, our wedding and how we prepared for our wedding and how was the actual experience of planning a wedding and stuff like that. So basically that's what we're gonna talk about. So as you know from our previous videos, you know, or you don't know, maybe you should check the previous videos where we talk about how we met. I think there's a point where we mentioned that, you know, we lived together for about 3 years, not being married. So we were basically keeping, which is a man and a woman living together without marriage. So we lived for 3 years, and then as we were growing in our faith and our relationship with God, so we were really troubled by our situation, which was we were like living
Convicted.
Yeah, convicted. We were living as married people, but we actually are not married. So we kind of like decided, you know, because obviously we sought out counsel because it really didn't sit well with us individually that we were living together as, you know, not married and still, you know, trusting in God and, you know, having this relationship with God. And the pastor advised us that it's best that we separate, or, you know, my husband moves out so that, you know, we work towards what needs to be done correctly.
Proper, yeah.
Yes, which then led to him, you know, I remember in early 20, is it 2014, where you made a decision that this is the year we are getting married. And then obviously there were plenty funds for things like that. We had to do.
Well, when she said there was plenty fun, that is a faith way of putting it. But what that means is that we didn't have the resources or all the resources, financial resources that are required to be able to plan a proper wedding. However, we believe in God and His grace, coupled with faith, that we are ready to do this and we're gonna do it properly. We are we were determined to be married, and either we had money or not,
We just we were
we
determined to do the
yeah,
right thing.
yes,
Because yes, we lived separately for about 6 months or so. But it was important that we sort out the marriage part, because there's no way that we will move in together and engage in other things without us being married. So it was important that we sort out the marriage thing, and because we wanted to do right by God. That's
yes,
that's what was important to us, is doing it the right way. That even if we don't know where the funds and everything will come from, but we just trusted that He will make a way, because we want to do the right thing.
yeah. Yes, like she said earlier, that we wanted to do what is right by God. That was our intention. We desire to please God, and that again buttressed my point earlier that we're moving by faith. And for those that are watching, that are believers, Hebrews 11, chapter 11, verse 6 says that it is impossible to please God without faith. And that is what we wanted to do, to please God, not just individually, but by making sure that we are joined together through and on a platform of the covenant of God.
So what happened was that we had a conversation with our pastor at the time, and we told him our plans or wishes to get married, which was, I think we spoke to him obviously in 2014 itself. And then we moved. Then I think he suggested that we start with, you writing the letter in terms of our culture for Lobola. He has to write a letter to my family saying these are the plans. He's seen a flower, in the family, and he would like to do the right thing. So anyway, so he wrote a letter, and from then on, date was set that they're gonna come through. But because none of his family members are this side, there were a few people from the church, and I think only one relative from your side or your parents asked to be present.
Yes, someone that I refer to as my uncle. We're not blood related, but me growing up in Nigeria, this individual was our tenant and is now there in Johannesburg. I was able to locate him, and he stood in the place of a family member and as my uncle. And also, I had a childhood friend that was around then, and he also represented, so both of them represented me or my family during the Lobola negotiation. Because, yes, I wrote the letter, but they had to take the letter to my wife's to be family.
So
to do the Lobola negotiation.
So we had that, and then it actually went very well, I must say.
What are some of the dramas? Since I wasn't there, since I wasn't in the room during the negotiation, what are some of the...
There wasn't, like I said, there wasn't much drama. There was only, if I remember, there was one person that the church sent. He came late during the conversation. And then he was now opposing what my uncles were suggesting in terms of the Lobola and everything. It caused a little bit of but I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then we did it. And then I think they gave some. They didn't pay the whole amount at the same day, ne?
No, I paid half, and then, or maybe more than half thereabout, then did the balance later.
Then after that, then that's when we put the date for the
wedding.
6th of September. And let me tell you the truth that there was no funds that we've saved anywhere. And I remember my husband saying that we are not getting any loans. God will do it. We'll see. Because also with me, I didn't really want anything extravagant and whatever. I was okay with If we do a small little thing, we go to church, we have lunch, and yeah, I wanted to keep it intimate, but it wasn't intimate eventually. So yeah, so the planning of it itself was was very stressful. Let's be honest. I was really, really stressed.
Yeah, it was stressful uh, from the point of view that we couldn't hire, like wedding planner, people to do this or people to do that, but
Yeah,
you
and I
know,
had to handle, literally, I had to handle things myself. Like I have to
plan.
plan
We
every.
have to plan everything from A to Z,
Yes.
and one thing that was very important that I should mention, again, we were growing in faith and we strongly believe in the Word of God, which we still do and will do forever. However, I must mention that our pastor then made a statement or made a declaration that the wedding, it's going to be glorious. And I particularly took that declaration very strongly. And that became part of some of it
Your
became what
daily.
we, yes, anchored on. And from that moment, and obviously our belief and prayer, and at a point we fasted and did praise and worship. So we were doing all, because again, and I believe even if we had money, we will still do, all these faith-based things, obviously for the wedding to go right. So what happened, we anchoring on that word that is going to be glorious, is people started showing up to provide things for
For
us.
us, yes.
In
Yeah.
as much as we were planning the wedding, the chairs, the cake, the food, all that is required to make a good wedding or a glorious wedding, we had to plan them practically. However, that word, it's going to be glorious. God heard that word and brought people that were now doing things for us.
Um. So yes. Like he says, a lot of people started, coming forward. And what was amazing was the fact that the people that came forward to help were not necessarily our friends. You
They
know,
are not family
not
members,
family
as it
members,
were.
neither, not friends, but it was just people that, yeah, we knew, but we're not close to. For example, the lady that helped with the deco, she just, because I sent her an invite, and then she's like, "Oh, how you doing with deco, the deco stuff?" I'm like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do, or I'm gonna go to China City and see what I can get. And then she was like, "No, I got everything," because she's worked as a deco person. So she had stuff in her home that she can help us with, and she was committed, and she helped me to get that, and she even helped me to get contacts to get my cake. So it wasn't people that I can say that, oh, I asked my friend, and then my friend, no. It was someone. It was all the people that I could remember, was people that we were not even close with.
Yeah, God put it in their hearts
Yes,
to
to
help us.
help. The person that paid for the cake was a colleague, my husband's colleague. The person that offered the reception area was a client of my husband, and we did it at a garden. Chairs, we got it from his colleague. So a lot of people came through in whatever little way that they can help. And also, we were not like, I want you to give me a Gucci, whatnot. I think for me and my husband, what was important was that we get married. It wasn't about the glamour, yes, I would have loved for it to look a certain way, but I think at that moment, in that time, what was important was the marriage. Yeah.
And, indeed, it was a glorious wedding.
My husband was so happy. Woo,
the
you.
um, Yes, like she said earlier, it was stressful somehow, and it would have been great that we were able to
Get support.
offload some of
It would
the
have
quote
been great to have
unquote burden,
support.
or
Yes.
have more support, especially from, again,
Family.
from, let me paint it, let me describe it this way. A friend gave me his backy, and that backy, I had to be moving chairs. Like she said, from my previous place of work, I have to be moving chairs, and I think we had over 100 chairs, or
Yes.
close to 150 thereabout. I had to be moving them myself. Okay. What were the other? Oh, I had to. The lady that came to do the decor, I had to go and fetch her a night before, and move her things. So move the chairs. I mean, park the chairs in the backy, drive probably 10, 15 kilometers thereabout, drop them
The
at the
chairs were falling
reception,
out.
offload the chairs, go back and fetch more, because of the size of the backy. Go and fetch this lady, pack all the decor items that she was going to
Buy
use,
food.
offload them,
It
those are some
basically
of
would,
the
it would have
things
been
that
great. Yeah, it would have been great if we had a great support. I think it would have lessened a lot of stress from both of us. I always say to people that, I really appreciate your family. If your family is like, or your friends are in your life and they are like busy work, don't never take that for granted, because we've seen it with ourselves that, wow, at a time where most of the people knew anyway we were getting married, I can't even remember if one would call and say, do you need help with anything, or what do you really need me to do for that? Nothing like that.
family members, that's it.
Yeah, family members, even friends, and then we had to, I remember I had to fetch the cake the night
Yes,
before. Even
she has to
the
go and fetch
baker
the
was
cake,
even saying to me, how can you fetch the cake yourself? And that is the reality that we were faced with. And when I'm talking about it being stressful, was the fact that we literally had to do everything
the
ourselves,
logistics.
just to make it happen. On the night of the wedding, we were the last, I think, with a few other people. With my wedding dress, his wedding suit, we had to be packing chairs and tables because friends, they left. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying it was pretty stressful. And I think after that, I was dealing with a whole lot of emotions. I remember I was like, that people that I actually don't want to talk to right now, after that. But, by the grace of God, he helped me to calm down. And also, it helped us to also depend a lot on each other. And yeah, we were a team basically, and we had to be that team for ourselves and to see because people didn't understand maybe for us it was important to get married, and we were willing to do it. We were willing to work that hard and stress that hard, as long as at the end of the day we are married.
We are covenantly joined together. And I would just like to use the opportunity also to be great to say thank you to God, and also to those that willingly supported us with some of the resources. Like I said, the venue. It was a client that offered the backyard of his house. The lady that did the decor, all the people that supported us willingly.
Yeah,
we're very grateful.
Others were cooking.
Oh yes.
Some people offered to cook the food, and the family member. Yes, we are grateful that family members. We are grateful that, they did the cooking and they did their part that they can do. We're grateful for that we even got a voucher. I remember when
for our honeymoon. It was a client, Yeah, it's a mix of it's a mixed bag of favor and others. It was a client that offered a voucher, Indaba Hotel
Yeah, and
was when we did
always
our honeymoon,
honeymoon, yeah.
so which was great.
Yeah, it was great. So the experience itself, I always tell my husband that I think on our 10th wedding anniversary, by God's grace, I'll do what, I wanted it to look. I had a vision in my head because for me, I saw like a garden wedding, like a one long table, and it's almost like we're not forest, but we're in the outside and it's rustic. But at least then I'll be able to have more control over that, and I would have had experience anyway in planning this whole thing, right?
Yeah, over and above experience, most of the logistics or the work also would have to be outsourced to
Yeah, and God will give
people.
us, yeah, God will bless us with the
So,
resources to be able to get the right people to plan it and
yeah.
to set it up the way that we would have wanted it to set up. But it was an interesting experience. I think for me also, I was feeling for my husband, like, oh, his family, none of his family was there, right? His mom couldn't come. And I remember, like, his mom was telling us, because she came later that year, the same year.
September.
She came in November.
Oh, okay.
She came in November, and she was saying to us that on the day of the wedding, she was sitting somewhere and crying. What did she say? She said she was sitting somewhere, and then she could see the plane, and then her heart was like, oh, my child is getting married and I can't be there. She was so, so, so heartbroken. And I know that, she would have loved to be here, but I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And yeah, but we're grateful to God nonetheless. It was an experience. And what we've also learned, in the process, or for me anyway, was to trust God. And it doesn't really matter all these fancy things and material things, and if your heart is at the right place, and the intention of getting married, is like clear, it's not about anything else, then then it's okay. And I mean, obviously we are encouraging also others that if you feel like I don't have money, and I really want to get married, or you do have,
And you have found the right person.
yes, you can trust in God and believe that He will step in. But what we did in that stepped in faith was, setting up dates.
Yeah.
That was a move of faith, that we're going to get married on the 6th of September. But we didn't know how, with what money, but that move
God made it
alone,
happen.
yes, it moved God to bring people to step in. And if you can even use people's venues and ask people for, it's okay, and then set it up the own way, because
Yes.
we don't all have to do those glamorous kind of weddings. If you can, great. If you can't, work with what you have, but don't, break your bank balance,
Yes.
for that.
And talk about setting it up in your own way. The lady that did the deco, she did an amazing job, and she did it for free. And people enjoyed the wedding. Oh, by the way, the food also, was enough. Because, I mean, honestly, if the food had finished and there are people that didn't haven't eaten, I don't know what would have happened. Because obviously we didn't have the extra
Yeah.
money to
Everything
go,
was counted for. Like, we counted like how many people will come. And I remember with the friend that we were planning the cooking and stuff, we bought, especially like the Nigerian food. I remember we bought pomo, for the purposes of making the food, like make it look like there's a lot of meat, but
Yeah.
actually there isn't. So that, and funny enough, at the last person that ate, that's when the food finished. How surprising was that? Every single person ate, and the last person was dish for. That was the last, what was left from the food. So everyone ate, and yeah, and the concern that we had really didn't really
matter. So
after that.
if you trust in God, you would definitely come true for you. You know, we've seen that. And we've been married now for 6 years, and you know, it started with God, and it has been God all the way, providing and helping us, and we've seen His hands in different amazing ways. So, like she said earlier, you know, when you find the right person and you truly want to do right by God and you want to be joined together in covenant, you know, just go ahead, you know, pray about it and trust God. And however things, then my trust and belief is that it's going to turn out gloriously, you know. It might not be glamorous, like she said earlier, but you know, you want to be married. That's what you want to do. Whatever people say, or oh, they don't do it like that. They don't do it like that. Don't do it like this. Why don't you do that? You know, we chose to listen to God and to listen to what we have available.
Our pockets.
Exactly. You know, and that's what we did.
So anyway, that was our how our wedding went and preparation went. It was just to help encourage others, you know, that want to get married and they don't know how they're gonna do it. You know, trust in God. God will do it. But move with faith. You know what they say. You know what the Bible says. Faith without works is dead. So put that date down. You know, God will do it. So we had asked a friend, or a friend suggested somebody to do our photos and our video. It was a blunder. The guy, yeah. So when we got to see the photos, they were a mess. Everything was a mess, and luckily there were two other photographers. One was
That came to the reception.
They just came to the reception. It's not like we hired the wedding thing. One from church and one of his friends. Thank God, from their photos, we were able to have a few photos that were proper. Because those ones that guy did, we couldn't even edit. We couldn't even. They were terrible. And I remember when he gave us the disc. We got a disc. Remember?
Even the video.
I threw away the disc.
So what happened was the video camera, and I think also the photo camera. Okay, the video camera specifically was used for a shoot at night, previous nights. Later we discovered, by the way, and the ISO, you know, was increased, so there was a lot of light. The aperture, you know, so it was increased so that there is light because it was again used previous night for shooting. So these guys, you know,
are using the same settings from the previous night.
So they were using the same setting from previous night during the daylight.
Very bright day,
you know,
actually.
so
everything was white.
You know, it was almost white. You know, and you couldn't even see people properly. And that was its thing. And, you know, those guys, you know, you would see them, you know, bending, jumping, and demonstrating as if they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, I was sure. I was sold. I thought, the photos are going to look great because, the camera guy was, like, so committed to taking, he was taking videos. He was taking photos. But the end product was something else.
Yeah, it was
and
terrible.
when we got the disc, I threw away the disc. Like, who am I going to even show? What am I even going to show? Like, it was so upsetting. But anyway.
So basically, we don't have the record of our.
We do, babes.
The video. We don't have the video. You said the truth. We don't have the video of our wedding.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. So I've moved on from it. I was very hurt. Imagine going through that whole stress of planning a wedding, and then now, after that, you're waiting for these photos and something else shows up. So it was quite upsetting. But anyway, if you can, get a proper camera guy. Yeah, I would say that anyway, to capture those days.
And the good thing also is that the phone cameras these days, because I mean, that's 6 years ago, the phone cameras these days are even, better. If you have to use your phone cameras, just get a proper mini tripod or handheld tripod, and for stability, and use your phone.
Yeah, anyway, that was our story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
And if you're married, in the comment below, tell us, what your experience was like, and if you are planning to be married, what are your aspirations? What are you looking for? If you found the right person, tell us why you're not married yet. See you in the next video.